Good evening, everybody. Is it audible to everyone?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I request everybody to mute their mics. Thank you. I myself, Dr. G. Anupama, clinical psychologist, working as consultant clinical psychologist in Amara Hospitals, SWIMS, and I'm an honorary psychologist in Telangana Intermediate Board. And I'm one of the students of Professor B.G. Reddy sir. Now I invite today's chief guest and hero of the day, V. Ganeshan sir. I also invite the chairperson of today, Professor Radhesham sir. I invite the president, Professor B.G. Reddy sir. I welcome Professor Subhashini ma'am, General Secretary. I also welcome the treasurer, Professor Suresh sir. And I welcome the special invitee for today, Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy sir. I welcome all the participants who have shown so much of enthusiasm. Now it's my pleasure to once again invite today's president of World Congress of Psychologists, Professor B.G. Reddy sir. A small introduction about Professor B.G. Reddy. Professor B.G. Reddy completed his PG and PhD from the Department of Psychology, Sri Venkateswara University, Andhra Pradesh. He joined as lecturer in 1955 and got promoted as reader and professor of psychology in the same university. Held the position of director thrice in the university. He served in the same university for 30 years. He taught B.Ed, M.Ed, MSc psychology students. He guided 17 PhDs and 18 MPhil students. Written 14 psychology textbooks to Telugu Academy, Hyderabad. He is the founder general secretary of Indian Academy of Psychologists, IAOP. He is founder president of Inspired Professional Psychology Society of India. He is also the founder president of Superannuated Psychology Society of India. He is founder president of Unemployed Psychology Society of India. And also the founder president of World Congress of Psychologists. On the above 4 psychology associations, many workshops, national and international conferences were organized. In 2020 alone, conducted 35 national webinars, personally organized 55 physical awareness programs in schools, colleges, and universities. As a psychologist and lawyer, he extended counseling services to more than 1,800 families, including student problems. I welcome you, sir. Sorry for the interruption. Now I request the president of World Congress of Psychologists to give his welcome address.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, with folded hands, I welcome today's chief guest, Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir. Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir is also the patron of World Congress of Psychologists. Professor Ganeshan sir, though he was not my guru, but I used to identify him as my guru. He is the chief designer, mentor, Bhishma, and also expert in conducting the workshops. A month back, when I consulted with him to conduct World Congress of Psychology workshops, I said, the WCOP in initial stage, sir, please, we may not pay more money to you for conducting the workshops. Then immediately he responded, oh, Professor Reddy, as long as you will be serving the World Congress of Psychologists, I will be serving the World Congress of Psychologists at free of cost. That is the heart-touching words I heard from Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir. That is the what can I say? A golden word I heard from Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir. It really, that word really reflects the lovable relationship between myself and Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir. We were being in touch for the past 30 years, more than that. Yeah, as far as this WCOP workshops are concerned, for July alone, already we have planned 4 workshops. That is today happened to be 5th to 8th of July, first workshop. Then 14th to 17th July, second workshop. Then 21st to 24th July, third workshop. Then 28th to 31st July, fourth workshop. This is the schedule for July 2021. Next, I welcome Professor Radhesham, Professor Ji. Since last year, Professor Ji with us, he gave a talk on suicide last year. Since then, I have been in constantly touch with Professor Ji. He helped a list of professors in North for the webinars earlier. We have conducted 10 webinars this year. He gave one lecture along with Professor V. Suresh sir on the first day, that is 12th day, inauguration day itself. I feel proud to say once again welcome Professor Radhesham ji to be with us as today's chairperson. I welcome Professor R. Subhashini ma'am, the present General Secretary of World Congress of Psychologists. My association with Subhashini ma'am is more than 20 years. She helped in distance education courses, many positions as examiner, as BOS person, or whatever might be, whatever work we assigned, and we requested a team of professors. They used to attend our Venkateswara University psychology distance education courses are concerned. Next, I welcome you, madam. Welcome to next Professor Krishnamurthy Garu. He is a specially invitee and also core committee member of our today's program. I welcome Professor Suresh. I think he's the treasurer of World Congress of Psychologists, but today I think he may not be available. Day after tomorrow, his son's marriage is going to be celebrated. I think he might have not come. Next in our midst, Jayan Nambudri is also with us for a team of trainers, those who did PhD course under Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir, and through Jayan Nambudri, he has given a bunch of trainers. So we are going to induct those trainers not only from India but also from abroad. And now I also welcome the other core committee members of World Congress of Psychologists and executive committee members of World Congress of Psychologists and the coordinators of Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Anupama and other people. And finally, I once again welcome the today's chief guest and today's participants too. So thank you. Thanks for the opportunity given to me to welcome today's chief guest as well as chairperson and guest of honor and treasury and general secretary and other core committee members and other participants too. Thank you one and all. Hello, Anupama.
Thank you, sir. Now, a small introduction about our General Secretary, Professor Subhashini ma'am. She has completed BA Psychology, MA Psychology, MPhil Psychology and PhD Psychology from Madras University. She has an experience of 38 years of teaching and research experience as lecturer, reader, and as Professor of Psychology in JBS PG College for Women, Chennai. Currently, she is working as Dean, Madras School of Social Work in Chennai. She held various positions in educational and administration career. She has guided 68 MPhil students and PhDs, published more than 60 research articles in reputed journals. She is the founder general secretary of Inspired Professional Psychology Society of India. She is founder general secretary of Superannuated Psychology Society of India, and currently she is the founder general secretary of World Congress of Psychologists. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anupama, for that wonderful introduction.
Now I welcome Professor V. Suresh sir. He is the psychology professor from Annamalai University, Tamil Nadu, and he is the first speaker in the seminars which we have started in 2020. He did PG and PhD from Annamalai University. He has more than 3 decades of experience in teaching and research. He is former professor and head of the Department of Psychology, Annamalai University. He is the founder. He is the former director, Center for Yoga Studies, Annamalai University. Currently, he is the course director, CARE, Institute of Behavioral Sciences, Chennai. He is the recipient of Psychometric Educational Award. And he has got his Distinguished Teacher Award of Annamalai University. His areas of interest include social psychology, counseling and yoga therapy. So I welcome you, sir. Now I hand over the mic to Dr. Sandhya. Sandhya. Welcome, Sandhya.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Dr. Sandhya, Professor, Nikkei School of Management, Bangalore. On behalf of World Congress of Psychologists, feel it a privilege to introduce our chairperson of the day, Dr. Radheshyam. Professor Radheshyam, at present, working as a professor of psychology in Bansilal University, Haryana State. He completed his master's and PhD degree from University of Rajasthan. He started his career from college and later moved, he became lecturer, reader, and professor. He has more than 35 years of teaching and research experience. Dr. Radheshyam authored and published 90 research papers, authored 7 books in national and international journals. He is the founder chief editor of Indian Journal of Psychology and Education. He worked as a director, youth welfare. He served as a director of career counseling and placement cell of MD University. He also served as a program coordinator of University Youth Red Cross. He served as Dean Academic Affairs, Dean Faculty of Sciences, Dean Faculty of Humanities, Director IQAC, and Head Department of Psychology. He is the President of Haryana Psychological Association. Under his guidance, 24 PhDs got awarded along with many MPhil degrees. Now I request Professor Radheshyam to address the gathering.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. Respected Professor Vedagiri Ganesan, respected Professor Reddy, President World Congress of Psychologists, Madam Subhasini, Professor Suresh, Professor Krishnamurthy, Dr. Anupma, Dr. Sandhya, and all others linked in this group, in this webinar or online workshop, Galaxy of Psychology students and experts. Good evening, all of you. First of all, I am thankful to Professor Reddy, who involved me in this intellectual group of experienced psychologists who are working towards the benefit of the society and paying back to the society what they have learned from their experiences in variety of educational and research institutions. I met Professor Ganesan 2-3 times, and whenever I met, he made me learn something. Once I was at Coimbatore, and he was so nice that he came to visit, came to the hotel where I was staying, and we discussed so many things, academic issues, and he taught me 2-3 very wonderful techniques also, and those techniques I applied to the kind of clients who visited me. So Professor Ganesan is an expert in this beautiful area. Most of the psychology students and teachers, they are familiar with the behavioral model and the behavior therapy and behavior therapy therapeutic techniques and broadly the behavior modification broad area. The experimentally established procedures which influence the scientific behavior analysis, and these are designed to produce behavioral change, are you can say broadly termed as the behavior technology. And here in India, I think Professor Ganesan is the person who has worked in this area and who has promoted this very important technology, behavior technology. Professor Ganesan may in the due course will give more details about, but I remember that Alan and you has started working towards this, the experimental procedures and the use of technology and a combination of that. So that is the, I think around to 1960s or beyond that, that the progress was much more there in this particular area. But now it is established everywhere in the educational setting, in the clinical setting, in the counseling area, and a wide variety of other areas also. The techniques of the behavior therapeutic techniques are more often used. And I remember when I was you can say when I was teaching also and as a student also, I was impressed by the behavior techniques of the behavior modification techniques or the behavior therapy, that the schizophrenic patients till date it is considered schizophrenia is considered the most complex and least understood psychological or psychiatric problem. And in late 1970s or 80s, that was a time that the patients who were suffering from schizophrenia, they were pushed back into the backwards, pushed back that they are going to stay for long periods, and they were considered the most difficult patients to handle. At that time, some of the behavior therapist or the behavior modification, or now as professor is going to train into the technology, they were given treatment with this behavior modification modules, and there was a lot of improvement in their conditions, in the bed management, their self care, and their other you can say aspects, behavioral aspects. They were significant improvement in their. Then these things were established that this technique is very important and can influence largely in the treatment of the person suffering from psychological ailments, and of course in the educational area, wherein if we go and search, the most of these techniques are more often used than other models, may it be the psychoanalytic model, the existential model, or the other model. Of course, of late the cognitive behavior approach has done progress, but this is one of the most important and prominent technique, and I hope that with the presence of Professor Ganesan as chief guest as well as the resource person, we will be greatly benefited by this because he has small tips. He has his own, you can say, developed variant of the behavior therapy or this, so that will definitely help those who are working in the area of counseling or clinical settings or in the educational setups where they deal with these students. And I hope that with the presence of an expert like him will surely help us in gaining some of the new techniques. With this, I will not take much of your time. Thank you very much, Professor Reddy. And Professor Ganesan, good evening. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for being with us. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Dr. Sandhya?
Thank you, sir. Now I feel it a privilege to introduce our chief guest of the day, Professor Vedagiri Ganesan, sir. Professor Ganesan, sir, is a renowned business and organizational psychologist with 4 decades of experience in teaching and consultancy at national and international levels. Presently, he is the Dean at the School of Behavioral Sciences, American Texila University, Guyana, South America. He was the ex-professor and head at the Department of Psychology at Bharatiya University, Coimbatore. He is also the leadership consultant at CESIC Creative School, Coimbatore. He is a member senate as well as the syndicate member at Bharatiya University. Professor Ganesan guided more than 25 candidates for their PhD and still guiding more than 10 candidates both at national as well as the international universities. He was conferred with the awards like Gold Medal during his graduation in psychology at Annamalai University, Young Scientist Award by the Indian Science Congress Association, Calcutta, the Source Material Collection Award, and also at New Delhi. He has organized workshops on various topics in different countries such as Germany, Chicago, Frankfurt, Malaysia, and 3 universities in England alone, and UNESCO, Paris, France, and also at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He is a consulting editor for 6 national and international books. He is also the founder of Global Institute of Behavioral Technology in Coimbatore. Sir, I request Professor Ganesan to address the participants.
ஆன் பண்ணிடுறியா? ஆன்ல இருக்கா? பேசலாமா? So, Professor Reddy Garu and Professor Subhashini, Professor Krishnamurthy,
Sir, please unmute your video audio, sir, please.
audio, is it clear?
No, sir, not coming.
Okay, okay, I'll check. Rajita, okay. Okay. Am I audible now?
Your audio is okay, sir. Video.
Video, yeah.
Yeah, it is not seen in the here.
Okay. Is it visible now?
It is not covering the entire screen, sir.
Okay. Am I visible now?
Not, sir, not coming. Now okay, sir. Please, sir.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, I am happy.
Right. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, Professor Reddy Garu, Professor Subhashini, Professor Krishnamurthy, Professor Raman, and it is nice to interact with you all, along with other psychologists, whose name I may not be able to mention now. Anyway, I am extremely happy to interact with the fellow psychologists in this group. Okay. Behavior technology and what is it all about? It is, I would say, the word psychology has been overspent. Okay. Is there any audio disturbance? Hello. Is it okay now? Anything now is coming.
We request Radheshan sir to
Yeah,
mute his mic. Request everybody to mute their mics. I request everybody to mute their mics.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. I think now it's clear. So the word psychology has been overspent over the years because psychologists have been identified by the community and sometimes also by psychologists that it is a systematic study of human behavior. But somewhere it has to stop. Apart from studying, we got to do something also. Of course, the experimental psychology has been there all the time. Research methodology has been there. But what is needed is the common man requires something to be done by psychologists for their benefit, like other engineers and doctors and chartered accountants. The common man expects something to be done by psychologists. But psychologists have been intrigued by the complexity of human nature all these years, more than a century, and we have worked on measurement, evaluation, attitude scales, IQ measurement, all those things. And ultimately, mostly we have ended as diagnosticians. But what is required is applied psychology, application of psychology to bring about change in the human behavior for good. And that is what is required. And I recall my experience at Professor Shyam's university sometime back. I was there. Some 5-6 years back, I was there in the Haryana University. And the students went on a camp, medical camp, to do some community service, psychology students. And they have come across some techniques of blood testing to find out whether people are having diabetes. And they have located one lady, a village lady, rural woman, and she had never had any pricks or injections in her life. She has given birth to 5 children, but she is afraid of the prick, a peculiar case. And the students brought that lady to me and said, "Sir, she is not willing to take a prick. We have to fill in the data of whether she is a diabetic or not. Okay, otherwise the data will be missing." Now, how to make this lady to accept to take a prick in one of her fingers? Okay, this is the question. All little simple things like this need to be solved. So, and in other words, application of psychology should go to the grassroots level in solving problems. So I asked this lady to sit with me along with the 2 research scholars, one male and female, so that they can learn how I am going to make this lady to accept a prick, which she says, "I never had any injection so far in my life." And she had given birth to 5 children. So labor pain she has experienced, but she is afraid of a prick, a small prick in one of her fingers. So what I did was J.B. Watson, what he did long back, the American behaviorist, it was a diversional therapy. Okay, or it is also known as reciprocal inhibition, as described by Joseph Ulpe, the psychiatrist who has written books on practice of behavior therapy, etc. So with all our theories and experiments, we have to translate it to solve a problem. A psychologist has to solve a problem because any specialist has to solve a problem. So they were offering some halwa to all the students and the participants and the visitors. So I asked the research scholars, "Get me some halwa." I asked this lady to sit and take the halwa and give her more water to drink. She has finished the halwa, she was happy. This is a diversional therapy or a reciprocal inhibition. Her whole attention goes on eating the sweet halwa. And after some time, I was chatting with her through the research scholars in Hindi and mostly Hindi. Then again, give her some more halwa and water. Again halwa and water. Now what happens? she feels happy because she's a poor lady who is getting halwa after halwa, cups of halwa. And water. And she started relaxing. One of the things is when a person starts eating, the person relaxes. So most of the executive meetings, breakfast meetings, are arranged in a star hotel where they are given a nice breakfast and then they are asked to do what to do by the chief manager. So when a person relaxes, they calm down. The anxiety comes down. Then I told her, we won't give you a prick unless you ask for it. So this is also a trick. She doesn't want to be pricked, but I am telling her it is known as a paradoxical intention technique. We won't give you the prick unless you ask for it. She would not ask for it. But when she goes on taking the halwa and the water, she feels so relaxed. And she said, sir, let me have a prick. The prick was not forced. And she was asked to volunteer. If you want, we will give, otherwise we won't give you. And when you say we won't give you, the mind says, give me. So this is a trick which has been found in the Shastras also. So what the mind says is, when you ask the person to do a thing, the person will resist. No, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. It's difficult for me. But when you tell the person, okay, if you don't do it, then the person will say, I will do it. This happens with the children. And this is what is quoted in Shiva Puranam, where Ganapati was not a cooperative child. So Parvati used this technique. And Ganesha tells,
సరపడతారా అరే మరి జనరేటర్ పప్పుతోటి తింటే అన్నంలోకి ఇది అయితే ఓకే అట్లా మనం స్ట్రెస్
whenever Parvati wants something to be done by Ganesha, she used to tell Ganesha, don't do it. Ganesha will do it. Okay. So that was a technique used by Parvati and Ganesha himself. So when I said, if you ask, we will give you the prick. And also I said, if you are tested with diabetes or no diabetes, then if you are not diabetic, you are happy. But if you are diabetic and if you are not diagnosed, what will happen to your children? Something may come to you. So it is a threat signaling, which a lot of research has gone into that. So I was mildly threatening. If diabetic is there, if you are a diabetic and untreated and you will develop complications, and then your children will suffer and they will miss you. This is the kind of I was telling. Then ultimately the girl said, she has become bold enough to say, okay, let me have the prick. So it was not forced. It was, she volunteered and the prick was given, and then they have found out and they told her, you are not a diabetic. So he was so much relieved. Okay. So translating theory and testing and measurement into solving a problem is a very important thing, which all the psychologists can do if we apply our mind, and it requires a little bit of imagination. And the style of a psychologist will vary. I might have done in this way, but somebody else can do it in some other way. So there is no one standard way. So it is just like poetry. Okay, poetry varies according to the poet. And psychologists can be also creative, like a manager, or like a doctor, or like an engineer. And it is all there in our right brain. And we should encourage our right brain to think differently, the out of box thinking. Ultimately, the problem has to be solved. So that was the case in Haryana. Now, in case some of you want to present a problem, you can present, because I am sharing some of my experiences, some of the techniques. But in case you want to pose a question or a problem, please communicate with the organizers. Then you can speak. Get ready with some kind of human problems.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Reddy Garu.
Sir, I'm Talar Sanjeev Kumar.
Yes, Sanjeev, tell me.
Sir, most of the times we are hearing panic disorder from our friends and our society, sir, nearby society.
Okay.
See, what is that common treatment for all such type of panic disorder, sir?
See, well, for example, you have to focus on what is the problem. If you say what is panic disorder, it's a broad basket. I have told you one specific case. The village girl, a mother, said, I will not take a prick. That's a problem. Then it could be solved. But if you say panic, what kind of panic for what? Okay. Because I can always interpret it in a way. So you have to be focused in your question. Now I will talk about a panic reaction of a pregnant lady, Keralite in Kerala. The gynecologist, the leading gynecologist, who was a physician in the president's committee when our former president Narasimha Rao Garu was there. He was in the specialist team. And basically he's a gynecologist and he knows very well Ayurveda also. And in his hospital, I was there giving consultancy in Swarnur. And one Keralite lady was refusing to go into the labor room. And the doctors were afraid that it will lead to complication of the child as well as the mother. So I was asked to come in and then I spoke to the lady. And she said, I don't want to go inside the labor room because she was thinking that once she goes there, in the process of delivery, she will die. This is what some of the pictures are predicting in all languages. And they should not do all that. Okay. Ultimately, delivery is going to kill a woman, kill the mother. If that is the case, China will not be leading in population and India will not be following. Okay. So happily people are reproducing. But this lady is having a lot of panic. So what is to be done? There is a diversional technique again. It is nothing but, I would call it as cheat the brain of the client. How to cheat the brain of the client? Because the brain of the client is cheating. When a lot of mothers are giving birth and there is a overpopulation in this country, this Kerala says she will die. Okay, her brain is cheating that lady as if she is going to die because she has seen some pictures, or some lady would have been dead, but that is a very minority. So I told this lady, you are a brave lady.
No sound, Aya.
Then I said, wonderful, you are a strong person. This strong, she thinks she is so rich, pressing. And she said, it's okay. I said, is it giving pain? No, no pain. So it's a good thing. Then I said, okay, now you make a noise like this. I'm going to produce a noise. Let us do it together along with my PhD candidate, who is a Malayali at that time, Lakshmi Devi. So Lakshmi Devi, Ganesan, and that lady, we started making a noise like this. The noise goes like this. Shh. The shortest. Shh. 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 Go on repeating. She did it 5, 6 times. Then I said, wonderful. Now hold my hand tightly. I will hold your hand tightly. Then the whole attention is shifted to what you can call as a tactual sensation, auditory sensation. Okay. And she was making noise. Then I asked my research scholar, you continue, ask her to do it again and again. This shh, 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 shh. Now, what happens with this long breathing, noisy breathing is she lets out a lot of wasted gases from her lungs, which are representing anxiety related biochemicals and gases. Okay. When a person is panicky, now we can recommend for the person who questioned, when a person experiences panic, whatever be the reason, ask the person to breathe out through the mouth and inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Possibly it can be noisy, like shh. Breathe in, again shh. This is one type. Another type is exhaling through the nose, noisy exhalation through the nostril, and breathing in, followed by breathing in. It is known as Mahaprana Dhvani meditation, which is practiced by a particular Jain group, Therapanthi group. Okay, they have got ashram in Rajasthan and Delhi. So this is used there, Mahaprana Dhvani meditation, which is there in Hinduism also, Jainism also. Ask the person to do it. Another variation is all these things are meant to exhale the, or it is like a exhaust fan pushing out anxiety gases from the blood. Anxiety will continue. The O and the Im should be equivalent. Okay. Go on repeating Om. Then you are pushing out the wasted gases, which are negative thought related gases in the lung. And you are taking in more of oxygen. Okay. So this is also another technique. So this pregnant lady, after some time, my research scholar came running and said, sir, now she is ready to go into the labor room. I said, very good. So she was taken inside the labor room and both of us were standing by her side. And I asked the doctor, the gynecologist, the male gynecologist, and the assisting nurses how much time it will take to deliver the baby. They were all laughing. Sorry, it may take 1 or 2 hours or 5 hours or several hours. We cannot predict when the child will be delivered. Then I said, okay, let us do it now. I told that lady, because she has already been trained in this noisy breathing technique. So my research scholar head was by one side of the client. My head was on the other side. All the three of us, like a chorus group, we started saying this, shh, 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 shh. We were doing it for less than 3 minutes and the child was delivered. And the lady was not aware that the child was delivered. So we call it as a pain-free delivery. Pain-free delivery. That is why China is leading and India is following. But imagination kills. It is the mind that creates the panic. Actually, the body can withstand. You can't even call it as a stress. Stress is in the mind. Okay. It is not in the body. It is not in the brain, but it is a functional factor. and the child was delivered, and we stopped saying shh. And that lady said, "Is it enough?" I said, "Baba, the child has been born already." Is it? She found it so easy. So it was not a life-threatening thing. It goes like that. Then we have given this to several other pregnant women, and I have given this program to our students and faculty in several places within the country, and nursing faculty also, and I published a paper also by one of my research scholars, and it is a pain-free delivery technique. Some of you can try, okay, and it will definitely work. No need for cesarean. It will lead to normal delivery. Okay. And the central thing which I am telling is, for all emotional problems, all psychological problems are emotional problems. Whether it is aggression or depression or anxiety, whatever, or sex, it is all emotional problems. And the experts in India, the ancient scholars have already predicted breathing holds the key for handling emotions. If a person learns to breathe slowly in and out, all the emotions will come down. Okay. It is just like shifting to first gear. When you are driving the car, you can shift it to the first gear, then the vehicle will automatically stop. But it needs practice. For that only this Mahapranadhvani meditation or breathing, exhaling through the mouth and inhaling through the nose, it is to be done at least for half an hour. This is a technique. But if somebody is having a problem, you have to make the person to sit and do it for half an hour. Okay. And things will work. So what I always recommend from my experience is we have to run a inpatient facility, or it is a kind of crash training program. I don't believe in sessions of counseling. They have to be admitted and treated. And they are, I won't say even treated, I would say trained. We are a trainer and they are a trainee, and we have to train them from morning till evening. Okay. That is important. And central aspect is breathing. And if when you slowly breathe in and out, no emotion will touch you. A very angry person will calm down. A very sexy person will sober down. So this is a general aspect. That's what I would say for the question on panic reaction. But somebody says, I can't sit, I cannot slowly breathe. Okay, sir, it's very difficult. I am hyperactive. Okay. Then you have to put the person on another gear, fast gear. What is the fast gear? I would ask the person to start running in the same place. Okay, in Hindi, in NCC and Army, they used to call it Daud ke kadam tal. Okay, stand in the same place and start running in the same place. And raise your thigh parallel to the ground. When they do that, then breathing becomes faster. One is slow down the breathing, and if a person says, sir, it is very difficult, I am feeling so disturbed, I feel restless, okay, I want to do something or other, okay, then do this, become hyperactive. Step it up in a systematic manner, and breathing becomes heavy. So steps, right, left, 50 steps, then sit down, take rest. Again, do it another 50, 4 50s for today. Tomorrow 6 50s, then 8 50s, like that. When it reaches 500 per day, then you tell the person, don't have a break after 50 steps, have a break after 100 steps, because the mind and the muscle have become stronger and the person can do it. And within 10 days, they'll be easily doing 1,000 steps, 110 times. Okay. The whole problem of mental health is the mind is cheating the person, and that creates problems. And the mind is like a cloud. Okay. Like a flight, it goes on. Like a helicopter, right, left, up and down, it goes on. So it has to be grounded. How to ground? It is assign some physical activity. The physical activity can be relaxing or it can be a hyperactive activity. When they do hyperactive activity, naturally the fatigue develops and they are ready to relax. So we can put them on to other relaxation techniques. So the basic mode of therapy is to give assignment for hyperactivity or make them to relax, depending upon the case. That's what I would suggest. Any other question or observation?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Welcome.
I am from Kerala. I am Jayakumar,
Okay.
and one of my client is having self-talk problem. She
Okay.
cannot control self-talk. How can we stop this or manage it?
What is the male or female age, education, marital
Female,
status?
female,
Marital
20,
status?
24 years old, sir. Female, not married. She has BCom.
Okay. Not employed?
Not employed.
Okay. Okay. Why she is not married and not employed and age 24?
That she wanted to marry, but this self-talk problem still exists, and the family, and also she is also thinks that it would be very
That a
difficult.
psychologist should, in the Department of Crime, they want all data, only then they can think of a solution. So I asked about the age, education, sex, and marital status, and employment is not there. Idle mind is a devil's workshop. We know, we all know that. What is it that is working in your head?
Sir, more than 10 years she is having this problem.
Yeah, what kind of problem?
This self-talking, always telling louder.
She is talking to herself.
Herself talking and louder also.
Louder.
Always,
Okay,
and to create
okay,
problem to the family members.
Okay. Now, maybe she is not interested in marriage or going for work.
She is interested for marriage, but
I
not.
am telling
Yes,
you.
okay, sir. Thanks.
People, some people, they don't want to go progressing like others, going for employment or going for marriage. They are stagnating. They may have a reason to stagnate. And these kind of symptoms becomes an excuse. Okay. Now we have to look at the problem and what is the basic motivation of the person. For example, a 5-year-old child, a boy child, is getting fever, and the child has been examined by all the experts, and they could not diagnose anything. But the fever is not coming down, it is going on. They have given drugs, nothing is happening. Then one MD sat and started chatting with the child. This is why all the specialties in medicine should have a psychologist, because they know about anatomy and physiology and pharmacology, but they do not know about the motivation of the person. But this they can acquire an MD with a lot of experience, like 20, 30 years. They almost become a psychologist. So this man started chatting with the child. You are getting fever again and again. Okay. Now, are you not unhappy? The child said, no, I am happy that I am having the fever and it is not stopping. Then they say, why you are happy with the fever? Because my mother spends more time with me when I am having fever. So fever, is it a physiological problem or a psychological problem? It is a psychosomatic problem. The body raises the temperature because the body wants the mother to be by the side. Okay? Like that. This girl, is she trying to avoid marriage or is she trying to avoid going for employment? Is she afraid of men, afraid of marriage, afraid of sex? I mean, these are things which you only can say. But anyway, what I can do is, I came across a case of a lady aged 50 plus, mother of 2 children. One is an assistant director in films. Another is a lady who has joined an ashram because she liked spirituality. And this lady wanted the daughter to come out of spirituality and get married like other girls. But that girl was not cooperating. She said, I want to become a sannyasi. And this lady will start talking, talk all the time, like what you are telling. So she was brought to me, sir, she's going non-stop talking, it's disturbing. Now, can you help me with this problem? She has been taken to psychiatrist also, but she was refusing to take any drug. So she came to me and said, okay, sit. And she was talking like that, non-stop. Whether I am interested or not, she will go on talking. Like some of the speakers, whether the audience are interested or not, they will go on speaking, blah, blah, blah. Like that she was speaking. Then I told her, please continue to talk. I will attend to somebody else and come back. And I went to see somebody and she was continuing without an audience. I was not there and she was going on. They came in again, sat for 2 minutes. Then I said, excuse me, I will go out and come back. Continue to talk. She was talking. This is self-talk, purposeless talk. She did like that for the whole day. I was escaping from her talk, like students do from a boring lecture, you know. They will switch on to something else and they will start scribbling. Then second day, I took a tape recorder, switched on, and she was talking. Again, I escaped, came back, and said, please listen to this, switched on. She was listening to her own voice and blabbering. She couldn't bear it. She fell silent. That was the treatment and therapy. She became all right. Within 2 days, first day, allow her to talk. Don't say don't talk. Second day, ask her to listen to her talk. Because when a person talks, the person may not listen. Good speakers, they speak and listen. Boring speakers, they only speak, they don't listen. Okay, so I tell my students, when you speak, you also listen. Then you know where to cut short, where to introduce a joke or a diversion, like that. So I would recommend to you to switch on the voice recorder, record the whole thing, playback. Okay, and that is not going to solve the problem. But ask her why she is not going for employment and why she is not getting married. And she may have an aversion to sex. That's what I feel. Okay, then what is to be done is the next step. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good evening, Professor Ganeshan.
Good evening.
I work in an engineering college.
Okay.
I faced a student who fell in love with her classmate.
Okay.
And this boy says he feels possessive.
Okay.
When the girl speaks with others, moves with others,
Okay.
this boy is unable to bear and he stopped concentrating on studies. Now he has many backlogs.
Okay.
Earlier, he was a good student.
Okay.
I mean, up to 10th class and intermediate, he was all right, up to first year BTech.
Okay.
And in the second semester of the first year BTech, he fell in love with a girl. And then onwards, the problem started. Now he has many backlogs. And he says he's unable to do anything for himself because he feels possessive of the girl he fell in love with. And that girl is not interested in this boy. That's the problem.
Okay.
How to counsel the boy?
Now, what I would suggest is forget about counseling.
Yeah.
Give some behavioral assignment.
Sir.
Ask this guy to interact with others.
Okay.
So some of these guys, as Professor Isaac has told, they are classified and they are branded physiologically as introverts and extroverts. I had the occasion to meet Professor Isaac in his department, okay, King's College, London, Institute of Psychiatry in 1984. I was there. I went on a UGC fellowship. I met him there, had interaction. Okay. What I suggest is whatever you read in the book, whoever be the expert, okay, first forget about it. You learn, but forget, and you try to grow beyond that. So I am one who believes that Isaac is wrong. Nothing wrong, okay? The grandparents could have been wrong. Parents could have been wrong. The child can always develop something new. So we venerate elders, but don't think you can't grow beyond the elders. So what I mean to say is, make this guy, there is nothing absolute like measurement, like intelligence and creativity or introversion, extroversion, etc. Okay, so don't go by a rigid regulation what our teachers or books have told. Now, what is required is we have to save this poor girl and save that poor boy also. So what I would suggest is ask the boy to say hello to somebody and tell me the number. You ask him, tell me the number of people to whom you say hello today. Good morning, good evening to teachers, classmates, juniors,
Okay.
seniors, parents, whatever. The boy
Okay.
has said hello. Hello. It's hello, how are you? Good morning. Okay, give me some another dosa or chapati. Fine. To how many human beings he has talked today? He has spoken to 7 people today. And ask this guy to make a graph, stick it in his bedroom, and he has to increase the number of people to whom he is talking. He'll be motivated.
Okay.
See, he will definitely go and talk to another 2 more people. It may be 7 plus 2, or it may be fresh another 7 or 8. Okay, we don't say don't talk to them. You talk to anybody. Your focus is to increase the frequency of superficial human contact. So the person goes on talking, talks to his friends and seniors. Then the graph grows. Ask the person to draw the graph in a green sketch pen. Okay, green is a good thing, you know. So
Yeah.
that is green. Then it goes on from 7 to 13, 13 to 18 or whatever. As the days progress, the person has learned the skill to socialize. This can be used in cases where people are considering suicide. The people who are considering suicide are depressed cases. Or in other words, they are more egoistic. Or you can call it as introverts. But when they go on making this superficial human contact, they are learning to socialize. Once they socialize, then they will not be sticking on to one or two persons. And the girl will be relieved. He will talk to all the classmates. Okay. Otherwise, you will feel a complex feeling of insecurity like that. If you give the scale of insecurity, it will indicate that is all right. But how to come out of insecurity? You have to socialize. How to socialize? It's a small step. Simply count. It should be measurable. One of the things is it should be measurable, tangible. That is why I am suggesting. So it will go up. Okay. And he will be still friendly to the girl, but not dotting on her. And sometimes this fellow will even kill the girl or throw acid on her face if she refuses. So to save the girl and also the boy, you can give this technique. Another thing is he has to be physically active. Otherwise, he is only in the world of imagination. So from imagination world to reality is physical activity. Ask him to go to the gym, develop the muscle, okay? Things like that. Engage in some physical activity, okay? And ask him to do some part-time job, earn money, like that. Or improve his English. Something like that. So that can be monitored by the girl. She can become a co-trainer. Okay. That's what I do. I always have a co-therapist. It may be a wife or a husband or a father or son. They monitor and then they tell me. Then I appreciate. So you need not be handling the case all the time. So you train another person, co-trainer. And that will really help. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Ganesh.
From the world of thought and imagination to the world of action. It may be physical action for action's sake or resulting in something, better English, better accent, better handwriting. Okay. And ask him to write poetry, write short stories, start doing sketches, some activity. Otherwise, the person will say, I am a wonderful poet without writing poetry. Okay, it should be tangible, measurable. That a therapist can always do.
And this boy even wrote poetry describing her beauty, sir.
Pardon?
This particular boy whom I talked about,
okay,
wrote poems praising the girl's beauty.
Wonderful. Put him on the same track and ask him to talk about God. If he is a Christian, let him talk about Jesus or Maria or about Allah. And if he is a Muslim, and tell him how many names are there for Allah. There are 99 names which are there, but they can search in Google. And then write one sentence about that name. All forgiving is one name. Okay. Say, Allah, you are all forgiving. That is why you are having this name. Centrally, it is a diversional therapy. You have to understand that we are trying to cheat the brain of the person. Otherwise, the brain is cheating him. And unnecessarily he is becoming a mentally ill person and he becomes a nuisance to classmates, girlfriend or boyfriend or parents, like that. So, basic thing is try to divert. Sometimes you have to forget about all the jargon that you have learned and use more of common sense. And that is what doctors also do. Engineers also do. All the creative people use common sense. It is what is known as out of box thinking, which any of us can do. Okay. And don't ask him to stop writing about the girl. Ask him to write about nature,
Yeah.
about God, about his parents. Okay, father, write one. Mother, write one. Okay. Country, India, Kerala. Then the fellow gets diluted. You know, now he is so much concentrated. He is going crazy. Okay. So that's what, if you have more salt in some dish, what the housewives do, they pour more water and balance it out. So think in such a way, think in non-technical ways. Your ultimate thing is to help somebody. If you think like that, you will also become a poet.
Thank you, Professor Ganeshan. If time and you permit and participants permit, I have one more question, sir. One more question.
Please do.
It's about another boy.
No, if you are the person asking the question, you please wait for somebody, give a chance to somebody else. You can always come back.
Right, sir. Right, sir.
Sir, I'm Sridhar here.
Thank you.
I have a hello.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Sridhar here. I have a student. Actually, her mother complained. Maybe you can cut short it. Actually, maybe because of the other participants would like to have clarify that query. See, this boy has passed his intermediate with 65%, and maybe there is one private university offered him the engineering seat. He has with a higher fees, which is so as other entrances are there. He wanted to join this, and maybe probably might have a fear psychosis to face the entrance. Okay, so he want to join, and that's it. He doesn't want to write any other entrances and all. So her mother is much worried about it to change this thing, to prompt him to go for the entrance. Maybe can it be done? First of all, that is the just wanted to know your ideas.
You see, what is happening here in Tamil Nadu, NEET exam is there for medical admission, level. But in Tamil Nadu, they want an exemption from that. What they want an exemption is, they want to get away from the national stream. What the central government is telling about the NEET, there should be a standardization. These people who are going with their capitation, even for degree colleges, they know about psychology, they were paying some 30,000 rupees to get admission. And the colleges are minting money, parents are filling out.
Yes, sir.
Students will not be interested. So I have to tell the students, you can get within that you go. Okay. I have known people who have chosen a subject because they don't want to go into one subject, they want some subject. But there is a saying in Tamil which says, if you translate, they have the desire, but they don't have the stamina. If you don't have the stamina, money cannot make it. But parents are rich. They want the sons to become or daughters to become this and that. They pump in money, but the child is going to suffer. The child's talent should have been developed, or it should be developed hereafter. I am talking about a case of a child, only child, a son of a vice chancellor's family, was admitted to an engineering college outside the state. And one fine morning, they hear that the son has left the college and run away from the hospital. And after a few months, somebody from Rishikesh, Swamiji, phones up and says, your son is here, come and pick him up from Rishikesh. And they go and pick him up. And he says there was a lot of ragging in that college and he could not concentrate and he doesn't want to shame the parents because the mother was a vice chancellor of a university and the father was a manager in an industry. They want him to come up, okay, but they are pumped in money and got admission outside the state. And I was called in to consult in this case. I visited the house of this boy. I went to his room. I found a lot of poems, English poems in slips. It was there. It was not the pictures of actresses as the young boys do. He has written Shelley and Shakespeare and Milton and Keats. It is very simple. No need for any Strong's interest blank or Thurston's interest schedule or whatever. I looked at it and said, put him in English. It's only BA. Whereas they thought BA, BSc is nothing. So they put him for BE. And they immediately followed my word. They put him in English in one of the colleges, leading colleges. He stood first and he went to Hyderabad, Central Institute of English, English language. He got a very good position, okay? So very important thing is, apart from our tests are good, but don't depend too much on tests. Simply talk to the child or find out what he is interested. I talk about one of the leading doctors in Kerala. He has established a big hospital and he wanted his son to come up and take over the hospital. And the son, he called me in and said, now tell me what to do for my son. I looked around the house. There were a lot of beautiful sculptures made by this young boy who was in school. And I know the doctor wants him to become the medical doctor. I told the doctor, put him in School of Arts, Chennai. And then National Institute of Design in Gujarat. He went there and he started coming up and now he has gone abroad. Okay, as an artist. Okay, a doctor can be there. Anybody can be there. Somebody can be a poet. Somebody can be an engineer. Okay, like that. That's it. So ask the boy, what do you want to do? Parents want the child to do something, but the child wants to do something. That you have to make the person to open up. Okay, and sometimes if they are not having adequate marks, it should not be compensated with capitation fee. That is my recommendation.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, this is Vanaja, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Recently, one person came to me, sir. He is 43 years old. He is working as a circle inspector. His problem is OCD. He is doing things repeatedly. Repeatedly opening tap, washing hands, and he will go to puja room and he will do namaskaras and he'll come out and he will go back again and he will do some puja and he will go back to other things, and he will wear shirt and remove the buttons and he will do like that several times. And one more thing, sir, while going outside, he will step out one step and he will come inside again. After 15-20 times after, he will go outside and he will reach metro station. There he will do nearly 20 rounds near metro station.
Okay. Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
from last test. And I asked, what is your belief system? Why you are going back again and again? What he said, sir, I am remembering some in Telugu actor Kota Srinivas son dead, and like that some film stars children are deaths. He is remembering that thoughts. For that, he is going back to home. And he is collecting some BD, sir, BD covers. On that, Sai Baba God is there, no, sir. For that, some in bus stops, in anywhere, he will stand to collect that one nearly half an hour. If people are seeing he is a circle inspector, no, sir. If they will see and laugh, no, he will go home. Then he will come back to that place and he will collect and go the back to home, sir.
Okay. One thing, is he having any guilt? Is he trying to wash away guilt? That you have to investigate.
Okay, sir.
If there is a guilt, there is no use of trying to wash away the hand or doing some puja. It's not going to do.
Okay.
So this is what they have told in the ancient way is parigaram. Parigaram means parigar.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am only recalling a case of a young man who was having some kind of difficulty all the time. He went shopping around to psychiatrists and psychologists. And he came and said, sir, I have a problem all the time. Unmarried man, aged about 27, from a well-to-do family, is a graduate. So I told him, tell me, you have a sense of guilt? He said, yes, I have a sense of guilt. What is the problem? Sir, my friends have pulled me to have sex with some girls. The girls are available, they want extra money. Okay. So, and the friends, they have spoiled this boy, and then he had sex with married and unmarried girls who were wanting money. And he was not happy about it. Okay. And he was having guilt. So he is drawn between two sides, temptation and guilt. So if his problem has to be solved, he has to dissolve the guilt by doing some parigaram. This parigaram is a concept which is known to the spiritual groups. Any Swamiji will tell. Okay. If you opens up to a person, okay, they will tell you go and do it. So that like that I have asked him, you buy some 7 saris with jacket bits, give it to the temple pujari and ask him to give it to women who come there. Okay. He started giving, he felt some relief. Then he said, I want to give some more saris, sir. I said, okay, he can afford. Then he said, I will ask my mother to give the saris. Good. He bought some more saris and the mother started distributing for women who came to the temple. So what is the central aspect? What is the mechanics or the psychodynamics in this parigaram, which is already prescribed as Vastradhanam? Okay. In Hinduism, it is there Vastradhanam. So I would say this fellow was stripping some women's dress. Now he is giving clothing.
Okay.
So in the role of Tushadan, now he is doing the role of Sri Krishna.
Okay.
That's two strangers. But central aspect is women. It is not the same old women, but any woman. And he felt a lot of relief. What I'm trying to communicate is go beyond the territory or the defined territory of psychology. You have to know all that for getting your degree. But for practicing, you have to go beyond. Within the information available to a qualified psychologist, if they can solve, good. If they can't, they have to go beyond the territory. Use your imagination.
Yes, sir. And
And
he said
take it from
1.5 years back, father attempt suicide, sir. He is no more. That pain is there, he said, sir.
Which man? This man.
This man, circle inspector, he used to beat his father. Because
Okay, now
why?
what is-
Because
now-
he
now
said
wait,
he
wait.
is alcoholic.
Wait. Now tell me what is the way to solve that guilt? Father was drunk and he was a lousy guy and the son has beaten up. Okay. Now what is the solution now? The father is dead and gone. For example.
Yes, sir.
Now what is to be done? If the father is alive, ask him to fall at the feet of the father and say, I am extremely sorry for what I have done. I have disrespected you. But if the father is dead and gone, the blood relatives will be there. Okay. Elder to the father, younger to the father. Ask him to go and give some dress material. Ask him to feed them. But if nobody is there, ask him to go to the old age homes and start giving food for all the old age people with his hand. Okay, these are all the parigarams known to saints. We can pick up from saints also. And you know the logic. You yourself will become a saint. Whatever be your age.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to introduce our special invitee, Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy, sir, to the guest gathering.
Yes.
Professor A.R. Krishnamurthy served as a professor and chairman, Department of Clinical Psychology, Kuvempu University. He served as a clinical psychology consultant and psychotherapist in Manasa Nursing Home, Shivamogga. He guided 20 MPhil students and 5 PhD students. He carried a rich experience of more than 40 years of teaching and more than 25 years of practice in psychological treatment. He served as DOS member and chairman, Board of Examination in Bangalore University, Tumakuru University, and Kuvempu University. He is bestowed with awards like Best Resource Person Award given by Manasa Educational Foundation, Mysore, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Lifetime Achievement Award for his contribution as teacher and researcher. Now I request Professor Krishnamurthy sir to address the gathering.
Krishnamurthy sir, sir, your mic is muted. Kindly unmute.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Professor Reddy. Thanks, Professor Ganeshan. Association with Ganeshan is nearly about 2 decades, 2 to 3, 2.5 decades. So I fully agree with whatever Professor Ganeshan has presented today. So it is in the behavioral modification we use the environment and also reinforcement aspects. So here, I too have gone through some of the cases of childhood and then of people with guilt feelings and those who had obsessive reactions, compulsive behavior, and so on. So in all these things, I used to bring change in their environment and then perception. So when the change is done with reinforcement techniques, a child, for example, refused to go to school. The parents used to force her to get into the auto, which used to take her, and then follow her immediately to the school also. So I to ask them to refrain this activity and see what will the girl do. So they did not insist on the girl to prepare, get ready for the school. Automatically the girl showed a different behavior to the surprise of the parents, and they reported to me. So this way, by changing we can change the behavior patterns with the environmental as well as the reinforcement aspects. So I completely agree with Professor Ganeshan in this regard. I compliment him for giving such an excellent presentation or work training to many of the audio participants. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah, I am also equally
sir.
happy to see you.
Sir, I have come to Mysore now.
Acha, very good.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. It was nice, sir.
Nice.
Really
Nice.
sharing your experience. And I have heard when we were in Maharani's college, when Professor Lakshman Gowda arranged, you brought out your experience there too. You shared
Yes.
many of the techniques.
Sure.
I enjoy your presentation, sir, and training modules. So thank Professor Reddy for giving me this opportunity to be a special invitee in this today's program. Thank you, sir. Over to
Thank you,
Anupama.
sir. Now I request Professor Subhashini Madam to propose the vote of thanks.
Okay. Hello.
Ma'am, please switch on your
Yes.
ma'am.
Video also.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I have been associated with Dr. Ganesan for over 3 decades, I think. And every time I have met him, he has always impressed not only me, but all my students, because when I was with another college called JBS Women's College, I've invited him. He has always acknowledged and always reciprocated any invitation. Similarly, when I'm here now in Madras School of Social Work, I had invited him. He immediately accepted the invitation, and he was with us for 2 or 3 days, I think. All my students have appreciated and has a, when I was new to psychology, he was like I think something that I cannot forget, because he's among the pioneers of using the principles of psychology into therapy. He converted all that we learned in the book, and he showed us that, yes, these are things that can be practiced. So I've always admired his therapeutic styles. One of the few psychologists, according to me, who holds a hospital. He runs a hospital for psychological purposes only, treating clients, and he has a hospital in Coimbatore. That's also something that that we need to note. I thank you, Professor Ganesan, for sharing your wisdom and always practicing out of the box practices of thinking and practicing something different. Your experiences as a therapist in treating clients, you have answered so many queries that our learned audience has wanted to find out or get to know from you. And I am sure today I must thank Dr. Krishnamurthy also for giving his inputs and being present with us as a special invitee. Of course, Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Vimala, Dr. Anupama, who have always been a support to the organization in their own way, for their technical assistance and always, volunteering to whatever Professor Reddy has been asking them to do. Professor Reddy needs no introduction because he is the father of this organization itself. Today we are in this World Congress Congress committee itself because of his initial wanting to do something for psychologists. So I thank you, Professor Reddy, for having initiated this. And I'm sure, yes, there was a record of the number of webinars and workshops that he organized in a very short time. I mean, the World Congress is only about a year and so, but then he has organized so many of these events that we have reached out to a lot of people. Today, we have covered probably almost a lot of parts of India, whether it's east, west, north, or south. A lot of Indian psychologists have been associated with this World Congress. We are also going global. So we have had some people coming from outside also, either to address our audience or also to be part of our organization itself. I once again thank the student participants and all the learned colleagues from varied psychological backgrounds to be part of this workshop. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you, Professor Ganesan, for being with us. Thank you.
So, as President, once again, I thank today's chief guest, Professor Ganesan sir, and Professor Radhesham from Haryana, he was with us as chairperson, and our own core committee member, Professor Krishnamurthy, who was invited by us as special invitee, and the learned participants, and also after a long gap, I am happy that the General Secretary, Professor Shubhashini, ma'am, is with us. And finally, tomorrow also the same timings by 6:30, and it goes up to the 8th evening. And kindly, all the participants utilize this opportunity so that our only anguish is many psychology students have to be trained through this platform, and yeah, right, including our WCOP, World Congress of Psychologists motto also, train yourself and train others. And this motto has to be fulfilled in the coming duration. And as long as I really remember, still I wanted to repeat the words just spoken by Professor Ganesan sir, really heart touching. As long as this WCOP exists, he wanted to render free service. It is really a wonderful statement, and really it touches a heart. It really touches my heart. So on behalf of this World Congress of Psychologists and on my personal behalf, I thank the today's chief guest, Professor Ganesan sir, and others. Once again, see you tomorrow. Thank you. Good night. See you.
I request all the participants to stay for a few minutes. I think there are few participants who have not paid the registration. Please pay the registration, and who have not registered, request you to send me a message. And tomorrow we'll be logging in at 6:15, and after 6:45 the participants will not be allowed, because this is a workshop and we don't want anyone to miss the subject. Sir, any input, sir?
No input, ma. Okay, good night. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.